Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2024 Chevrolet Traverse, and we're going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to show you how to install the CURT Class 3 2-inch hitch receiver. Adding the hitch receiver to the back of your Traverse is going to allow you to haul bike racks, cargo carriers, or maybe even tow a small trailer. If you're planning on towing a trailer, I highly recommend going ahead and picking up a 4-pole wiring harness to install while you install the hitch, because our factory plug is going to be right here behind the fascia. It'll be really easy to get it plugged in and get it working while you're installing the hitch. Being that this is a 2-inch by 2-inch hitch receiver tube opening, it is going to give you a lot of options for accessories out there. Our hitch pin hole here on the side is going to be a 5/8 inch hitch pin hole that'll accept a hitch pin and clip, locking or non-locking hitch pin and clip. The hitch does not come with one, so you will want to be sure to pick one up either off our website. If you pick up an accessory, chances are it's probably going to come with one. Our safety chain loops are going to be a hoop style safety chain loop that will fit safety chains of many different shapes and sizes, so you can get them hooked up and get your trailer safely down the road. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost part of our bumper is about 3 inches, so you want to keep that measurement in mind when you're looking into accessories. If you watch some of our videos on the accessories, like a hitch cargo carrier or a hitch mounted bike rack, they'll give you a measurement between from the hitch pin hole in the accessory to the closest part of the accessory. That will tell you whether or not that accessory is going to work with your Traverse. From the ground to the top inside of the receiver tube, it's about 20 3/4 of an inch. That is more than high enough off the ground. You don't have to worry about any of those accessories dragging. As far as weight capacities go, this hitch is going to be rated for a max tongue weight capacity of 750 pounds and a max gross trailer weight capacity of 5,000 pounds. That is with or without weight distribution. It is rated for weight distribution, so if you need to pull a trailer that you use your weight distribution on already, you can do that with this hitch. One feature about this hitch that I really like is that when you're not using it, you can put your cover back up into place, and then all you have to do is just latch your 2 latches back under here, and then it looks like there's no hitch there at all. And then when you're ready to use it, you simply pop it off and hook your accessory in. As far as the installation goes, this install does involve taking off the rear fascia. As a lot of vehicles go, you will have to do this because the hitch will mount in the same spot that your bumper beam, your crash bumper, was originally at. We will be taking that off. But as far as this one goes, this is much simpler than a lot of other hitches out there on the market as far as taking the rear fascia off. But hopefully with my help, you should be able to get it off no problem. To begin our installation, we're going to need to remove some plastic covers here on the back of our rear fascia, because our fascia is going to have to come off. We need to take a trim panel tool. I'm just prying back behind it. If you've got like a plastic putty knife or something like that, or if nothing else, you can use a flathead screwdriver. Be very careful, or put some painter's tape around the end of it so you don't scratch your paint. So we'll pop these covers off. Just pry in behind them. Then we'll take a 7mm socket and take these screws out. Then we'll take a T20 Torx bit and remove the screw that is just below the screws we just removed. Taking a T15 Torx bit, underneath our vehicle, we're going to have one screw here and one screw right here on each side that we'll have to remove. You do not have to remove this one because it's just holding that tab on. Next, we're going to need to remove a few screws out of the inside of our wheel well with that same T15 Torx bit. I highly recommend picking up one of these angle bit drivers from your local hardware store. They're great to use around the house or on other parts of your vehicle too, so you will use it again, but it makes this job so much easier. Otherwise, it's very difficult to find a tool that's going to fit back in here that has that T15. We're also going to have to peel back this black plastic piece, because there's a 7mm screw right here that's holding this piece to this piece. We taped it off here so that when we go to pull the fascia off, we don't have any of the fasteners that are behind here scratching this paint, or vice versa, so the panels don't scratch themselves. So we'll take this bit and take these screws off. We're going to have 4 screws along the inside edge here, or the outer edge, I guess. You'll start here and work your way down. And we'll take this black plastic piece, slowly pull out on the bottom. You'll see that there's a little tab here that just clips in. And you have to be careful with this next piece because it's kind of like a plastic bonded weld here that's holding this little plastic piece to the fender. I've had them break before in the past, so you just want to be very careful. Just work your way up. The next fastener up here is very difficult to get out without a tool. So we're going to take a trim panel tool, slide it back here. It's a little bit different style fastener than the other ones we just removed. But we'll stick it back in there and pop that out. Now you can see the 7mm screw that's back here. We'll get that removed. To keep this piece out of our way and to protect it, again, these are metal clips. So I just put a piece of painter's tape over top of it so that when we pull this part off, it doesn't get scratched. But another way you can help yourself is take a piece of shop towel or paper towel and just wedge it back in there. It'll help keep that off. Now what we'll do is you get yourself an extra set of hands. Joe's helping us out on the passenger side. And you just want to slowly pry back and pop these clips out one at a time. And it depends on the year of your vehicle. Our vehicle is brand new, so the clips are coming out pretty easily without breaking. But if you need to, take a trim panel tool, push it in here, and pop these little black plastic pieces. It's this little piece in here. It releases from the side of our fascia, so if it's not releasing very easily, take a trim panel tool to shove it in there, pop that down, and that should allow you to continue to pop them loose. Once you wiggle it a little bit, you should be able to pop it off. We've got a electric fastener or a plug back here behind our bumper that we'll have to remove. Just pop this little red tab back, push that black clip, and unplug it. Now we can remove our bumper beam. You're going to have 4 fasteners on each side that you'll have to remove. You'll have 2 nuts at the top and 2 bolts at the bottom. This will be dropping your exhaust, so you will want to be sure to put a strap under there. What I do is I just put a small strap, a cam buckle strap from spring to spring underneath your exhaust so that when it drops down it catches it so it doesn't flex too far. Take a 15mm socket and get these removed. Once you get all the fasteners off, we'll just take our bumper beam, and we're not going to be reinstalling this, so you can just toss it. Then you want to take your hitch, slide it up into the frame rails. Now from past experience, you will have to put them in at the exact same time. If you get one started too far in, it'll bind up. It won't allow you to push it in far enough. Make sure that our hangers are out of the way. Push it on, then we're just going to put a nut on here to make sure it doesn't fall off. Now we've got our 4 nuts on top. What we'll want to do is you're going to want to snug those up so that our hitch is where it needs to be sitting. And then we're going to have to go up, open up the holes in the frame of our Traverse a little bit more so that we can run our bolts through these openings, drop them down through the hitch. Now underneath, we've got our grinding bit here. This is a 1/2-inch grinding bit. It's very handy. Again, another tool that's handy to have around the house. You can see here, this opening, the hole on our hitch and the hole on the bottom of our frame rail line up pretty good. The grinding bit's the same size as the bolt we're dropping down through here, so as long as the grinding bit goes up through there, the bolt will drop down through. So we don't have to worry about the 2 end holes. It's these holes further in that the hitch doesn't quite line up with this factory hole, so we need to grind out that factory hole a little bit. So we're just going to take this grinding bit and run it up through there so that we can fit our bolt. Now we're going to take a fish wire, and that hole we just opened up, we're going to run the spring side of our fish wire up in there, and then you're going to reach in here, feed that fish wire to yourself, and try to catch it with your finger. You can try to go the other way, send the non-spring side of the fish wire down through this hole, but it's a lot harder to find that little hole in the bottom than it is this upper one. push it out. And then we're going to make sure you don't pull it out too far. But we'll put on our spacer block and then one of our carriage bolts. Push it down and then pull it out through that hole. Once you have that pulled down, you want to make sure that it's seated properly in the spacer block, which you can tell by just turning it. You won't be able to turn the bolt. And then we'll just take our fish wire off. The rearmost hole underneath is quite a bit easier. You just simply reach down through the hole. It'll be straight down. You'll pull that out, then run your spacer block and your bolt down through it. Pull it out. Do the same check. Make sure that it's seated inside of the spacer block. And then pull your fish wire off. Now we're going to take a conical tooth washer and a nut and put that on each one of these bolts. You will want to be sure to use the correct conical tooth washer. The other ones are not going to fit on these bolts, so it should be pretty easy to figure out which ones go on here. Now we'll take a 19mm socket and snug these up. Then we'll come back with a torque wrench and we're going to torque these 4 bolts on the bottom down because you want to make sure you do the same thing to the other side. Torque these down because once you get this exhaust hung back up here with our bolts on the rear, you are not going to be able to get to these to torque them down. So torque these down first and then we'll move on. Now we can take our exhaust bolts. Those are going to be your hex bolts that come in your kit. Use the smaller conical tooth washers with the teeth facing this bracket. We're going to slide them in, lift this up, and make sure that your bolt gets started good so that you don't have anything cross-threaded. And we'll do the same thing for this other one and then repeat that process on the other side of our vehicle. Then we're going to come back and torque all 8 of our hardware here on the back. And we're going to come back and we're going to take our fascia and put it back on our vehicle. Well guys, once you get everything put back together, that's going to do it for the installation. Hopefully this video was able to help you get it installed.